Hello and welcome to 360 Gamercast, episode 170 for Tuesday, the 27th of June, 2023. I'm your host, Mark Webb, Gamertag, PS on D, Steam ID, Webby360G, and joining me on this fine evening is...
I'm all sunburnt, it's Nick Fights.
Too bloody hot, if Sensei Switch.
Yeah, I've been quite sensible this time because the other weekend when it was hot, I got really bad sunburn, so I've spent most of the weekend just hiding from the sun in the shade and just sitting in the house playing video games with the kids and been out a little bit in the sprinkler and that to keep cool. But the problem is, right, you cool down with this nice cold water outside and within a few minutes you're boiling hot again. It's only, a very small reprieve. But anyway, video game time. I'm glad you're all well. Really enjoyed last week's Nintendo episode, and don't forget next weekend we'll be doing next week at some point we'll be recording the Nintendo handheld special.
Yes.
And Alex should be joining us for that as well. So that'll be fun. Haven't got a date set for that yet though, so we'll see. And we get to talk about our normal video games this week, and it's been a really good week for video games. And I'm just going to preface this with I am really hooked on this game, and it could be Game of the Year. Could even beat out Starfield, and that's Final Fantasy XVI. Fucking loving it, man. Absolutely loving it. So it came on Thursday, and the cool thing about Final Fantasy XVI was you got to play the demo, which was the first 2 hours of story content from the game, and then when you start playing the full game, it sees your save data from the demo, and you just carry on. It's great. So I've played.
Can you actually start again though?
If you want. Yeah,
Cool.
of course you
So
can.
I know, because I've zoned out a lot of the demo. Like I said,
That's-
all I've played is the demo this week, and I enjoyed it. I liked the combat, and it's a Final Fantasy game. Obviously, enjoying that. I just thought the demo would have had less cutscenes than it did. I thought it would have focused a bit more on that, possibly. But
No.
But I like the cutscenes, so that's fine with me. But a lot of people said it's maybe too cutscene heavy.
The game, I mean, I've played 12 hours of the game over since Thursday, according to PlayStation. Anyway, when you look on your PlayStation, how long your game's played, and there's a lot of cutscenes, hell of a lot of cutscenes in the game. But I'm used to that with Final Fantasy games, and I know it can be a complaint from some people, but that's what those games are about for me. It's mainly like the story. That's how they set it up, right? Is with these epic cutscenes with a lot of story in, and I'm finding it very, really enjoyable now. I know because the game is story heavy, I don't want to be giving spoilers, so I'm not going to be doing any spoilers. So
before you start, when you selected on the demo, did you carried straight over from where the demo ended? Yeah, you didn't start the whole thing again.
No.
And where it says, do you prefer more story or more combat? I take it you chose more story.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe that actually tones down the amount of combat.
No, all that does is you get equipped with accessories that make the combat a bit easier.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. But is that what you went with, Webby? Story rather than...
Yeah, so I'm just doing it story at the minute because...
Nubenstein.
Yeah, I know, I'm being a Nubenstein. But I have already decided that I'm going to be doing more than one playthrough of the game because I'm really enjoying it. So I'm doing the first one just chilled out, playing the game. But because the combat is so fucking good, it reminds me a little bit of Devil May Cry. And there's quite a nuance to combat because you can flick between a lot of different skills, and you can.
It's actually the same combat director.
Oh, nice! And you can combo different movesets together, especially later on in the game. I want to play it again just with the difficulty a bit higher, just to make that, just to change it up a bit harder. But But my first go, I just want to enjoy the game for what it is with the story. And to be fair, I am loving the combat. I think it's absolutely amazing. And this is from someone who is a classic Final Fantasy fan. I love the old school turn-based combat. But I think they've done a really good job with this with this Final Fantasy. Even though I will say it is a huge departure from the classic games, because it's not an open world like the old Final Fantasies. It's you're kind of funneled through to different areas, and there's areas, so you go to different areas on the map, and they're kind of open areas, yeah. But there's not one gigantic open world map that people are used to. And another negative I will say, and you know, just to give it fair cop, the side quests, some of them are really lame.
I heard they're pretty much all just fetch quests, and that's it.
Not all of them, but a lot of them are. So some of the early fetch quests, you're in your base of operations, and you go to this guy who's running like the pub, but it does food, and he's like, "Oh, can you give 3 people some food?" So you got to run around the dining area giving people food, and then you give them their food, and it's mission complete. And you're like, "Oh my god," you know. But some of them are good.
Yeah, as long as things like that, they could put quests like that into a game to introduce you to other characters and to get to know the other people that are in the bases and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I think they are just generics, though, aren't they? The named characters are the ones mainly behind the bar and around it.
Yeah. But apart from that negative, like I just want to get... So, gameplay-wise, I'm loving it. I'm loving the exploration of the open world areas and the variety of enemies that you will recognise from the old Final Fantasy games, right? And the combat, as we've mentioned, is really, really cool. And as you progress through the game, you get more skills, more magic. I'm not going to say how or anything, because that would be a spoiler. But I'm just liking it. It's fast and fluid. It feels like an evolution of moving on from the Final Fantasy VII Remake, if that makes sense. It just feels fast and action like it, but better, because there's none of this stopping to use your magics and shit like that. It's all just crazy fighting. The graphics are fucking gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I think they've done a really good job with this, Darren.
Yeah, they're basically they're getting quite close to having the in-game graphics look very close to the very first Final Fantasy XIV trailer.
Yeah.
Not the Rebirth one with the meteor and stuff, the original one with the Marlborough and stuff in it. But yeah, when I was looking at a lot of the cutscenes today, I was sort of thinking to myself, like, yeah, they're getting pretty damn close to how those CG looked sort of about 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks absolutely fantastic. Like there's been a lot of times where I've just been going through some of these open areas and I've just stopped and just looked over at like the trees and the sun coming through and the vistas in the background. I was like, wow. Absolutely amazing. And I've taken a lot of pictures as well. Used the old screen grab thing on the PlayStation a lot.
You've been putting them on Twitter, haven't you?
And the Discord, yeah.
I thought it looked okay. I played the demo. I had a bit of problems because I just struggle with the HDR with the PS5, because it just doesn't, for some reason, like I say, the PS4 and the Xbox just seems to like auto-detect it better, and I just keep finding tutorials online. I think I've got it now, because it's like where you have to do this thing where adjust this until this brightness and you see the symbol is just here and just that, whereas I found a few things and they're like, do all that, and you're like, it just looks crap and dull and horrible. And I just found one on, I think it was Reddit or something, they said just ignore all that shit, just go all the way up on the first two and all the way down on the next one.
Right.
And it seems a lot better now. You see what I mean? So it looks a lot better. And then I think every so often PlayStation does an update and keeps putting it back to how it was, but it looks okay now.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought like I said, I've only played the demo, and yeah, it does look. It's. I think in games we're getting to this stage, not just in this game, where the graphics they've gone past being that good. They're started to look like weird real life, aren't they?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's a bit unsettling because they look, like I said, they've gone past video gamey characters with a lot of them.
I think it looks, yeah.
This is about as realistic as I like my characters to look in video games because they are still stylized.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But when we played, I don't know when the next one is coming out. What was the Heavy Rain game on PS4, the one that used like the real characters and
Detroit Beyond Human. Or
that looks weird because they were real characters and it just looked like weird CGI, and the people looked off because, you know, they look off versions of real life. Whereas this one, it's still a bit like art style, and you know, I'm obviously explaining that perfectly, but
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah, I think it looks good. Yeah, I think the whole package, it just looks absolutely gorgeous. The areas are so you can tell that they've gone for that medieval kind of Europe setting, just with how the towns are set up. And it's all those kind of old houses with the wooden beams and all that on, right? Kind of like you see in ye old England. Like those really old villages and stuff.
And that kind of
stuff. And so I think and the windmills as well, and it just looks gorgeous. I think they've put the setting down. They've made it very. They've done a good job with it, shall I say? And even the cities and stuff like that, like the structures of the battlements and the castles, etc. It just looks great.
Yeah, the buildings are amazing. Like the ones I've seen so far, be it a stronghold, a castle, a manor house, or whatever. They're all really well done.
Yeah.
So I take it you two both got this like physical.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah.
Version, yeah, because I didn't know if Webby went digital, because I know he. But like a lot that come up a bit in my time where people were moaning about the price because it was like 70 quid on the store, but a lot of the shops were selling it for 60 and things like that, which it's just normal, isn't it? But
things are like that all the time. I don't know why suddenly people realise.
Yeah, it was weird, and it just came up on a few of my discords and time when people were getting outraged.
I know someone who picked it up for 45. I'm sure.
Bloody hell.
Just over 45, yeah. It took him like an extra day for it to turn up.
Wow.
But he was like,
that's pretty good price.
Paid just over 45.
Yeah, and I can't remember who it was. I remember there was someone crying on Twitter that Games Collection didn't give them their points. I wonder who that was.
Yes, well, they fucked me over, mate. I'm never shopping with them again. I'm telling you now.
No? What happened? Because I use them quite a lot. What was the final score with that? What happened?
So I pre-ordered Dead Island 2 with them and Final Fantasy XVI on the deal where they give you 10 quid's worth of points per pre-order.
Yeah, I was supposed to get that with Resi 4 and I never got them.
So I never got my points. So I emailed them and said, where's my points? They're like, you ordered it a day too early before the deal came out. I said, no, I didn't, because the deals were on the fucking website when I ordered them. Oh, no, sorry, because of our terms and conditions, you ordered it too early.
Yeah.
No.
I think I had that. They were advertising on the website and on like Twitter and everything that if you pre-order this, you get these points, but you read it, even though it was all over the front of their website that you could pre-order it, but when you read it, it meant from like 2 days later or something.
Hi, wankers. I'm never using them again. They're tossers.
Well, at least you got it on the day of release, which for another company I pretty much know you may or may not got it on the day of release.
Yeah, I got it on day of release at like 4 PM because my postman posted it into my next door neighbour's house and not mine.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Maybe he knows you.
Fucking so pissed off. Well, I was working anyway, so it wasn't really the end of the world, so I wouldn't be able to play it till 5 anyway, but it'd just be nice to just get it installed and all that.
Yeah, so you could have installed it, couldn't you, rather than...
the install was nice and quick. It didn't take long at all.
Well, it was the whole game was actually on the disc, wasn't it? It didn't have a stupid amount. I mean, they were like quite open and said that the whole game is on here. I think they did eventually have a patch, but I think it was like a day one patch was like 200 meg, and that was it.
Oh,
stability patch, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't like anything major, which is nice. I mean, you know, we've got games coming out in like years. I'm like, what was it? I think that's the saying that Alan Wake has to be digital only because they can't fit it on a disc. So we'll bring it out on 2 discs then.
Well, Final Fantasy is like 90 gig, and that all fits on a disc. So
yeah, well, 2 discs. The next one, the what's it? The
7 remake
2.
part 2,
yeah, that's going to be on 2 discs because they said they want the game to be on the disc because they like because Square Enix are quite good about that, and unfortunately, the
game preservation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Alan Wake, I don't know if it has any right to be over 90 gig. Like, to be honest.
Yeah. I think it just, like I said, it's just bad optimization. The other one was, it came out on disc. What was it? The Jedi Fallen Order 2, whatever it's called.
Oh, yeah.
That was only like 20 meg on the disc and stuff.
Yeah,
like
isn't that like almost 150 gig though, or something stupid?
Because they said, well, we had to do it like that because it won't fit. And I'm like, well, make it fit.
Yeah, sort it out.
Yeah.
Anyway, Final Fantasy 16.
No, this might sound funny, but even Final Fantasy 16 is like 20 to 30 gig bigger than the whole of Final Fantasy 14 and all its expansions.
Anyway, Final Fantasy 16, though, I haven't talked about story yet. Not as I say, no spoilers, but this is what is so gripping me. Even though it is very cutscene heavy, I do like a cutscene. But it kind of reminds me, this is like Final Fantasy's take on Game of Thrones. This is how I would compare it. And
without
this
the shit ending with any luck.
Well, I have heard that the ending isn't very good, but that's just reviews. I'll make my own mind up. But I am absolutely loving it. Yes, there's long cutscenes, but they do the story really well. So basically, there's these 3 different empires are going to war. There's this shit going down. You got the icon fights. You got this. So basically, you got these kind of slave people with these like scar. They mark their faces,
branded.
Yeah, so they can draw magic without the use of like the crystals. So there's got these crystals that people use to like suck ether out of the air or whatever to like make fire and freeze things, and to help people out with their day-to-day lives. But the branded can just do it without the crystals, so they're kind of like the slaves, because people own them like property and shit and treat them like shit. But what I will say about the story is that the reason I'm comparing it to Game of Thrones is there's a lot of, as I say, politics, but a lot of twists in the story where main characters get killed off at a whim. And I've had that a few times now. And there's been some massive story twists and loads of cool stuff. And I've been like, oh my God, this is amazing. What's going to happen next? Kind of like, you remember when you watched Game of Thrones and you had one of those episodes, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe he's been killed. What's going to happen next? It's kind of like that.
Well, like the one episode a season that's absolutely awesome and the rest of them is just boring waiting for something to happen.
Yeah, but the game is like 100% the great episode of Game of Thrones 100% of the time. Lols. But yeah, it is. I'm loving it, mate. I think the story's really, really well done. But I would say though, it's not I wouldn't say it's a proper RPG in the sense, because it feels more like a third-person action adventure game where
with a story, yeah,
with a really good story, but there's not really any RPG elements to it at all.
No, there's no. What would downtime? Would something like that? Where you'd get to a village, you'd have some downtime. You do a little bit of grinding around the area. You do some side quests, and then when you're ready, you'll move on to the next part of the story.
Yeah, there's none of that. It's literally just story, a couple of side quests, story. Which I'm liking because it's just full on fucking awesomeness. and some of the locations are epic. And I haven't even talked about the icon fights yet. Yeah, I'm enjoying it because it just feels like, because it's such a departure, it's something completely different to what I'm used to with a Final Fantasy game, but I'm liking that, you know. I'm glad that they've tried something different. It's not the same old, and I've seen a lot of people complaining online, oh, it's not open world, I can't grind my character, but I'm one of them, you know, I don't like every game being a grind fest. I quite like just having a really cool story just to play through the whole time. I think it's really well done, but as I say, it's not a traditional RPG at all. It really isn't. But
I wouldn't have even said Final Fantasy XV was a traditional RPG, and from what you said, Final Fantasy XII also was a bit of a departure.
I fucking hated 12.
That was like an MMO.
Yeah,
without
shit.
the MMO.
Yeah.
It has its people who love it. 12, but yeah, it was somewhere between a normal RPG and an MMO, but from what I've played, like 15-20 hours of 12, it was kind of, you know, like jack of all trade, master of none. It wasn't quite a, you know, like I say, Final Fantasy XIV did everything better than that, and the older Final Fantasies before that did what they were trying to do better than that. But I just thought it was a few memes I saw on Twitter as well, which I just think was where they said, we're in a world where Final Fantasy has gone action-based and Yakuza's gone turn-based.
Yeah.
I just think, but they're not wrong, are they?
No. That's pretty funny. But yeah, I'm liking that departure. It's something different. But also, I haven't talked about the icon fight. So every so often in the game, basically, it's the old summons from the Final Fantasy games. They're called icons now for some reason.
Well, they change them to everything, don't they? You've had, like, what summons, Guardian Forces, what Eidolons, they've always changed. It's just basically, if how do you say Ifrit now, according to them?
Ifrit.
It's just Ifrit.
Yeah, because he said it slightly differently, and I remember.
Well, they're all loosely based on like old gods or goddesses, like Shiva and stuff.
Yeah.
And also pronounced like slightly different depending.
Yeah. But so basically every so often, there's certain characters in the games that are called the dominants, and what basically these dominants can summon these icons. They become them. They don't summon them; they become them. Right. So your character is Ifrit. Spoiler. And that is actually a spoiler. Sorry.
Well, it's in the demo, so if
I know, but
demo, you know, most people who are listening to a podcast like this have probably played it or going to play it.
But so basically you play. It's like becomes like a fighting game where you face off against another one, and it's just they're epic fights. And I just think they're really well done. Like, everything just comes together with the epicness of the actual fight itself, with the button mashing, the music. It's glorious. And then you get these kind of like active time battle sequence, which are part of these fights, and it just all adds up to this epic, orgasmic fight, where at the end you're kind of catching your breath like, oh my God, what did I just witness? It's so good. Yeah.
Tell me about the main character. What's his name? Not Noctis, but he looks
Clive.
Like Clive. That is a name and a half, isn't it?
Well, you've got a lot of well, because it's based kind of like meant to be like medieval England, I would say. You've got a lot, and so all the voice acting is British. All of it.
Colin would love it because there's so much slang and all that kind of stuff in there, isn't there? Like
someone even gets called a wanker in it. As yes, you've got like Sid and Clive and Gerald and all these proper these names. Gav, yeah, all right, Gav. Even goes, all right, Gav. It's hilarious. So yes, and that's another thing that I really like about it. It just seems like Square have put a lot of effort in to try and make it feel kind of authentic in a weird way. So, yeah, it's great. Loving it. And anything else? Because I know time. We don't have a lot of time this week, and we're going to probably be bumming this in a couple of weeks as well. So,
yeah, no. The only issue I really have with the game is I wish a few of the icon battles were more hands-on. If that makes sense. Like, you'll do a part of it that generally is, and then you'll get like a load of interactive cutscenes, basically.
Yeah.
Which is fine, because I get that they're trying to tell a story, and they want everything to hit the way it's supposed to hit.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's a slight irritation is that dodge button.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Why isn't it circle? Why isn't it circle? In pretty much every other game I've played, the dodge button is circle, and I keep trying to dodge with circle all the time and getting hit. It's just like a mental thing that's kind of up there. I don't know. I don't particularly want to. It's just something I've got to get used to. But every time I sort of step away from it and go back to it, you take a load of hits, and I'm like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh yeah, R1's dodge, it's not circle.
Yeah, because with your firepower, like circles like to kind of teleport towards the enemy and hit them.
Yeah, because there's someone else I know who's having the exact same issue as well. And he said about remapping, and I said, yeah, even if you could remap it, though, like the buttons on your screen are prompted in the exact order of the layout of your control pad.
Right.
So that wouldn't make sense to have one of your abilities on an R button when it should be on one of the cross buttons, because that's how it is on the what's-it.
Yeah, I think that's a kind of a user issue, mate. I mean, I don't really have that problem. But yeah, I can see how it could be a little bit annoying, but yeah. It's a fucking great game. I mean, I do think this has been a really good year for games, because every single game I've played this year seems to have been better than the last one I played. So I've had about 3 different Game of the Years so far this year.
We've still got 2 huge ones to come out. Like 2 large sort of first-party games to come out amongst everything else that's going to appear.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? What, Spider-Man and Starfield?
Exactly.
Yeah. So we shall see where Final Fantasy ends up, but for me, it's way up there at the minute. Yeah.
It looks like they've also gotten around the problems of, when you're playing a game and you get a good fight sequence or a good part of the game and you're like, I really want to replay that, but I don't want to have to play all the way through the game again to get to that point.
Yeah.
Well, this game has an actual thing in your base that you can access to redo content that you've already done.
Yeah, so you can redo fights, rewatch some cutscenes and loads of cool stuff, can't you?
And you also, I believe, get to keep the items and stuff from things you find during those redos as well.
That's pretty cool.
So you can sort of grind out a few materials that you might need for crafting, because there is a crafting system and stuff in it. It's not very complicated. It's pretty basic. But you can craft weapons and accessories, etc.
And it's also taken quite a few things from 14 as well, I found. You've got the orchestron in the bass.
Yeah. You listen to the music's unlocked.
Yeah. That's quite fun.
And such.
That's quite fun.
I noticed there's actually a Moogle in the kitchen as well, wasn't there? But no one ever talks about it.
Yeah, I don't think people can see it. I think you're the only one who can see it and talk to it.
Oh, right. Yes, that would make sense, yeah.
Because if you talk to it, he'll hit, like the Moogle says, oh, you can talk to me, you can understand me, and have this little conversation, yeah. So. But yeah, I can't wait for you to get further in the game, mate, because shit goes down. It is so
I imagine,
yeah.
Maybe you could do a spoiler cast or spoiler
once
section.
It's completed.
Yeah. At the end of the year or something, do a spoiler cast on a bunch of games.
Yeah. Defo. Right, I think we should move on, because we've spent nearly the whole podcast talking about Final Fantasy, which I thought would happen. But there we go. Come back in a couple of weeks. We'll probably might have it finished by then. Who knows? Cool. All right, Nick.
Yeah, I haven't been playing that much because I've been on holiday in Wales, so that was nice.
Oh, sunny Wales.
Yeah, pretty much. They do talk like that. And then I went to Liverpool, which was less fun, but only for a day. I can handle one day of that. But yeah, so basically the only thing I've been playing before and after is Breath of the Wild. Still plugging through that. I've now done 3 out of the 4 divine beasts that you have to do. Well, I don't know if you have to do them to because once you do them, you get a weird ability, and then it shoots a big laser at where Ganon is in the castle.
Mm-hmm.
So I've done that, and then I got the Master Sword last night as well.
Nice.
Which is kind of cool. I mean, that still breaks as well, and you have to wait for that to... that still breaks, and you have to wait for it to recharge and regrow or something, which... I mean, I know this game, the same as the newer one, people get mad if you don't say it's perfect, but the whole durability thing with the weapons, it's just annoying.
It is.
It was just a fad at the time or during they were developing, when they were getting all these survival games, coming out on Steam. And what was the game where you run around naked all the time, Webby?
Rust,
and things like that. And I just think, Nintendo normally are trendsetters, whereas this game, I think they copied a lot of other mechanics pretty much,
Right.
But I mean, I'm enjoying it, everything apart from that. And and I found a glitch so I could get loads of hearts, so that made it fun. So I haven't got to spend hundreds of hours grinding to get shrines. So I'm a bit of a cheat, but never mind. I enjoy it. But yeah, hopefully I'll get that finished. And I mean, I started in 2017, so it hasn't taken me that long.
Wow, yeah. Well, it's weird because I've been playing. Well, I've not been playing it the last few weeks. Tears of the Kingdom. I got quite far on it, but I don't know, I just kind of fell off it. I don't know, I just got a bit... just a bit bored, I think. I don't know.
It's the same game again, isn't it, mate?
Well, just with this added kind of Minecraft thing with building stuff. I really thought the building stuff was cool when I started playing it, but then it just got a bit annoying after 20 hours. So... But I can guarantee that'll be on loads of Game of the Year lists from proper, the big sources. But in my opinion, yeah.
If it doesn't win Game of the Year, there's probably going to be a scouring of the Shire or something.
Yeah. But no, I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah, but like I said, I should have played it all in one rather than start it and then ignoring it for ages and then starting it again. And then when I went back to it, I probably should have started the whole game again, so I could have done all the tutorials. But then, like I said, I found there was a tutorial section in the game and on the one I watched on YouTube, so that made it easier. Because I actually found out there was a dodge button. So I'm like, oh, there is one, and I'm playing it on the stream. Why can't I dodge? I've got to hold this button. Oh. All right, and then I did that thing, where you do a boss where you can't do it and you just get yourself in a state because it's too annoying, and then you go to it the next time and you beat it first time.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
it's always that always seems to happen. But yeah, it's a good game. I don't know if I'd bother getting the next one, to be honest, because far as I'm saying, it's the same game, the same map, but they've just added, like you said, the building stuff. So I'm like,
yeah. No. I mean, because it's been quite a lot of years between the games, 5 years, yeah. For most people, it's you kind of forget the map and the changes that they've made are enough. But if you're going to play them straight after each other, then yeah, you'd probably be a bit oh, fuck this.
Plus, we have to remember that one of the best open world games actually used the same map as the original game.
Same.
Saints Row 2.
Oh, fucking hell. Forgot about that.
It was the exact same map, but they just tweaked certain areas of it and changed them slightly to show that development and stuff had occurred.
Nice. Cool, mate. What about you then, Darren?
Well, the only other sort of real game I've played this week, I would say, properly, would be Street Fighter 6.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I also picked it up. It was £35. So I thought, oh, bargain.
Definitely a nice price.
Yeah.
For it. Yeah, there's a lot to this. Like we've said before, you've got your arcade mode, you've got your online fight hub, where you can go around fighting other players or playing old school arcade cabinets. They actually had Street Fighter Alpha 2 on there the other day.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
So I was like playing that. And then you've got like the World Tour mode, which is like your single player, create a character and go off into the world. Which I'm pretty sure I talked about before.
Yeah.
You can buy gear and upgrade it. You fight random people in the street to get XP and level up, and you can earn XP not just for your character but for your master, whose discipline you're serving after. So all of the main characters in the game, you can basically become their students.
Oh, brilliant!
And then the more you fight using their styles, you'll earn XP for them, which will then get them to teach you newer moves and unlock other bonuses and stuff like their alternative outfits.
Oh, nice.
If you do enough. Yeah, I think I'm about 25, 30 hours into the world tour, so it's fairly long.
Wow, yeah. I mean, I've not even touched that world tour mode yet.
But I have spent just a lot of time just running around beating up idiots in a car park and taking the subway back and forth between these 2 points, because you get like a load of people on the train, and for every person you defeat you get a kudos point, which is what's used for the current battle pass. So I've been grinding out a lot of kudos points on the tubes.
Okay, makes sense.
Because the battle pass for that is literally only about 2.5 weeks, something like that. It ends at the beginning of next month.
That's mad, isn't it? Wow. I mean, I've not played a hell of a lot of it. I've done the arcade mode, just dicking around with the characters, and that online hub area thing, just to check out the arcade games and see what it's all about.
What ones did you play on there, or were they all like really old, weird ones on there?
All I played was Street Fighter 2, and that was it. Nah, I literally only played Street Fighter 2. I've not really played the game a hell of a lot, but the things that I notice as a fan of the old games is, you've got a lot of the Street Fighter 2 characters in there, and some are noticeably missing. However, they just look a bit weird. Like, their outfits are completely different, and I don't like that. I don't like change. They just look weird.
Well, you can unlock their actual original outfits.
Oh, good.
Just from playing the game. So.
Excellent. Okay. Well, that's made me happy.
You don't have to spend money.
Good.
But yeah, there's been a passage of time. I think most of all the original World Warriors are in there. Okay. You're just missing a lot of the boss characters.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure what they did with Sagat, but that's a character I'd like to see come back at some point.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think it's a fun game. I'm yet to play it online. I know it's got the cross-play, Darren, so I would like to get on and have some fights and that. I don't know the time. So many games.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
And also, for a bonus, most of the new characters are actually really good to use as well.
Oh, that's good. That's good to hear.
Cool. A couple get a bit annoying. I don't like fighting Kimberly or people who use Kimberly's style. Just irritating, like jump about all over the place constantly.
Okay. Awesome, mate. Awesome.
But yeah, there's Street Fighter 6.
Cool. I finished Diablo IV this week. The main campaign. So did that in 4-player co-op with Leonardo, Frosty, and D-Twin.
Yeah.
So that was like, that game is so much fun in co-op. Just we all just got in the Discord chat because it was PlayStation, D2 on PlayStation, me on PC, and the other two guys on the Xbox. Ran flawlessly, and it helped me a lot because my character, I felt, was just very underlevel. Well, not underlevel, just... It's a weird one because, like, I felt like my character was a bit of a badass, but when it comes to boss fights, I just got absolutely fucking destroyed. So
you do. I mean, I've noticed with most of them, you generally take a bit of a beating, and then every time you knock their thing like down a segment, they'll drop a couple of extra potions.
Yeah,
that you can snag up.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was. I think it's a great game. I really do like the whole.
Oh, it is
world.
A good game, yeah.
The whole world is beautiful. It's very well done. The story's really good. The cutscenes are epic, by the way, if you're into that sort of thing. I think it's just a really good package. The only thing that I'm a little bit annoyed about is because I bought the Ultimate Edition, not really giving it too much thought, and the seasons that come with it are you have to make a new character for each season. Which
you have done. Yeah, you have done other ARPGs as well.
And I didn't know this. It's mainly probably my own fault for not looking into it properly. But I don't have the time to start a new character, level them up to 50, and then do all this other bullshit. Oh, I can't be arsed, mate, you know? So we'll see how it rolls.
Start a new character and see how you get. Yeah. How far you get or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it lasts, they do 4 seasons a year, so it's 3 months.
Mm. Well, I will be doing a new character when my missus wants to play co-op with me, so because we're going to play for it together. So that'll be one other character, but that's the only little niggle I've got on it, really. But everything else, I can't really fault it. You know, it plays really good with the controller. And because it's cross-play, you know, and the save is all online, I can literally just stop playing it on my PC, run down to my Xbox and load it up within a couple of minutes, and it just carries on, which is really cool. So
I suppose the only downside they've got is there's only 5 playable classes in the game currently.
They'll add more. They always do.
They definitely will add a couple of extra classes, but it's how many seasons in they decide to do that. Otherwise, you'll end up with people that have rolled all the other characters for the seasons, and then you come to a season where they add a new character, and everyone's going to be playing that brand new class. You'll just see it everywhere.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. But yeah, that's Diablo 4, mate. It's a great game, but just that little thing. I don't know, because I've finished the campaign, right, and I haven't played it since, so I don't really know what the true end game is like. But the guys in the Discord chat seem to be really enjoying it still. So I will, once I finish Final Fantasy, I will dive back into Diablo again. Right. It's just with Call of Duty and Final Fantasy, I've just got no time for anything else, because Call of Duty's new season has started, and I bought the Battle Pass. So I want to make sure I max it out, you know. So yeah. Anyway, back to Nick.
So I played playing on my PS5 this week, and so I played Resident Evil Director's Cut, a PS1 game on a PS5.
Nice.
Because which I didn't know, I wasn't sure, because it's part of this PlayStation Premium thing. They've added a load of PS1 games to it, but I wasn't sure, and then I found out that was true. Like, if you own these on like the PS3 digital store, and they're available, you can actually just download them and play them. They're not like all in the cloud, and you don't, have to have PlayStation Plus to play them if you already own the ones only the ones that are available, not all the PS1 classics, only ones that have been made available. And so I played that through for about an hour or so, because I played that game so many times, the original Director's Cut. It looks nice on PS5. It's definitely, it's emulation, so it's not like proper, and they've got some like smoothing going on. Like the actual, the backgrounds seem the same and blurry as I always have done, but the characters seem to have had, they seem to be a lot smoother than what they were.
Right.
Yeah, it's not as good as like some games. They've been doing like HD mods for the game that you can download on PC. But, they're like, fan-made stuff. So it's not quite as good as some of the HD mods and texture packs that people have made and backgrounds, but it's pretty good for what it is. And it's just weird because they've actually got You know, it's weird because even though there's loads of buttons, to do some of the games, you have to press like the touch screen to bring up one button, and then press left and right on the touch screen to bring up like the inside menu or something.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's just weird. So they're using the same button for two things. But another thing that's weird, they actually have a rewind button.
Oh, right.
You know, like Netflix. So you press a button and it comes up, you know, like the thumbnails like you'd get on YouTube or Netflix. Yeah. And you can actually go like left, left, left and scroll back and then press play, and it just comes straight back there. So it's, you know, which is cool if you're playing a game like that and you die or something like that, if you want to save scum it. But, and from, as far as I'm aware, like all the little PS1 games, there's only like 3 or 4, but you can all do that. And I just thought that's a neat thing because I like to work out how they managed to do that. Obviously,
that's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Also, if you missed a bit, you could rewind it back. So I just thought that's nice. Obviously, it's got the usual take screenshots and record video, which I think you can do on all the PS5 games. But it's just nice that I added that little bit. Because like I said, if you died and you're like, oh, I didn't have an ink ribbon, screw it. I could just rewind it and not die again. But
that's pretty cool.
It's nice.
Isn't it?
I mean, I've played that game, you know, Resident Evil 1 and Director's Cut on pretty much every console, you know, every version, you know, Japanese, American, PAL port that's going. So it's just nice to play it on another one. So I think I've completed the set now of like 20 different ports.
Brilliant.
But that's fun.
Nice.
Switch.
I think he's fallen asleep.
No, I'm still here. I've basically, I haven't played much else, to be honest. And amongst all that, it's just the usual stuff that I talk about. So, not really worth covering.
No worries. Well, I've played only one. I played 2 more brand new games that come out this week, and I'm just going to bang them out because I don't think many people will be super interested. So I picked up a new game that come out called Park Beyond. It's basically a theme park, mate. It's a theme park game. And you build your roller coasters and shit like that. So a bit like Planet Coaster, right? So I'm liking it. It's pretty cool. So there's a really cool thing about this, which I've not seen in other games of the similar ilk that I've personally played, is you can build your own coasters, so you get all the parts and you build it how you want, but then you can fucking ride it. It's just so cool. You can actually ride it. So me and my boy have both been playing it together. So he's been designing some roller coasters, and he's like, "Daddy, let's get on the roller coaster and ride it." You know, and we're having a ride blast on it today. So yes, we just go into the mode with infinite money and all that bollocks, and just make these wild creations and have a blast on it. So that's really cool. I've been enjoying that. And the other game that I've been playing, only very briefly, maybe about half an hour's worth, is a little game, PC exclusive, called BattleBit Remastered. So basically, it's like what Battlefield used to be, with all the destructible environments and all that stuff. But it's in, it kind of looks like Roblox kind of graphics. So it runs super smooth, so smooth. And it's just so much fun because I played a couple of games, and it's exactly like Battlefield. Like, so you got 128 versus 128 servers, or 64 v 64, and you get put into squads, and everyone's in game voice chat, and you get like your medics and your engineers and your assaults and all that, and people are actually reviving each other, healing each other, chatting in the game chat. Oh, you know, Webby, can you heal me or whatever? Fucking awesome, mate.
Did you heal him?
Yeah.
Oh, it was nice of you.
That's so good, mate. It's fucking brilliant game. And so it's one of those things where it goes to show that graphics aren't everything. You know, it's stylized, and it's just a hell of a lot of fun. It really, really is. So if you've got a PC, check it out. BattleBit Remastered. It's only like £12. Bargain. That's all I've played, guys. That's everything from the Webmaster 3000. So back to Nick, I guess.
No, that's it, mate. I mean, I've already talked about the Final Fantasy demo, and I played through that, and that's all I played.
Okay. Should we get into news then?
Yep.
Yes.
Well, okay. Well, Nick's going to talk to us about the Nintendo Direct stuff because I didn't watch it and I've no fucking clue.
Yeah, I mean, I've just put like most of the main stuff on. I might have missed it. I mean, it was on for about 40 minutes. So I'm just going to go through, which I think is like kind of the big ones. I mean, they started off with new Pokemon expansion DLC for the games last year. If people like Pokemon, they're going to like that. They seem to be happy. I think they did the same with the last few, like Sword and Shield. They did expansion packs, so that's a good thing. And then, what was that? Vampire Survivors finally coming to Switch.
Oh, finally!
People, they were asking. That's a Switch game all over, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, so that's finally coming to Switch pretty soon. I want to say end of August, but it's this year. What else they did? They showed off Pikmin 4, and then after that they said, and they've brought out Pikmin 1 and 2 HD.
All right.
For the GameCube, the two GameCube games, which I think I want to say they put. I don't know if they ported them to Wii U in HD, but either way, they've HD'd them up, and they were released like a stealth release on the day digitally, and I think it's pre-ordered for the two games. It's 1 and 2, not just one. So you can buy it physical. I think they're up for pre-orders. I don't know. That's a few. I think they did the same with Metroid earlier in the year, didn't they? Metroid Prime. Yeah. It was like stealth release on the day and the physical release a bit later, which is nice. So people who don't want to wait and don't care about digital or physical can buy it right away. And people who want the physical version, they can wait and get it there. So that's not too bad. And what else was it? Luigi's Mansion 2, the 3DS game.
Oh, yeah.
That's getting a Switch port. That's not a bad game, but that's a very handheld version of the game. It's like broken up into a lot of chapters. It's a lot of stop-start because I think compared to the first one and the third one to some extent, but because that was on the Switch, that's not too bad. But that's very like you spend like 20 minutes doing something, watch a cutscene, and it wants you to save, and it's kind of like saying, this is a good time to put the 3DS away, because you shouldn't be playing that for like 10 hours at a time, but that's getting a Switch release. Not the first one isn't, though, which is a bit sad, because there's not many GameCube games that have been coming over. Right. They've been talking about it pretty much for 5 years, the Wind Waker, Twilight Princess HD Wii U ports to come to Switch, and they just haven't done. But they talked about how Tears of the Kingdom is doing really well and blah 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 blah, and sold really well. So I think that's why they haven't brought them out, because they don't want to affect sales of that.
Yeah,
but I think people would buy both. But that is what it is. And then they got I think these are the only three that I'm really interested in. Is Super Mario RPG that was on the SNES?
Yes.
That's getting a HD remaster, and it's coming out this year.
Cool.
And that looks pretty good, like the turn-based RPG Mario game. That looks like I get that. And was it Detective Pikachu Returns? So it's like a sequel to the last game, which I think it came out about this. I want to say about the same time as the movie.
Okay.
Give or take, or the movie was using the same, but that was on 3DS, not Switch.
Right.
So I don't know if it sold that well, and I was like, well, I'm not buying a 3DS game when I got the Switch. But Nintendo does do that quite a lot, don't they? They'll still release games on the last machine when the new machine is out.
Yeah.
And then they announced they're working on a Princess Peach game, which is coming out next year.
All right.
Which is, looks kind of cool. But they also announced the new game, which is Super Mario Brothers Wonder, which is like the next 2D side-scrolling Mario game. Like the proper one. So it's not called like New Super Mario. It's just Super Mario Brothers Wonder. And I mean, it looks like a Mario game.
Yeah, I did see a picture of Mario as an elephant.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. There's a new where you hit the box and you get something, and he's a chubby elephant. I don't know what he does, because that was like the end of the thing, and something came out of the box and like that he hit. I was like, what's that? And I was like, he's an elephant, and I zoomed in on him. I was like, we don't know what this elephant does. Something to do with his trunk, I assume, and that's coming out this year as well. So Nintendo. So it looks like there's 3 Nintendo Switch games that I want, for the end of this year, and no other games that I really want. Which is really weird that I want to buy 3 Switch games this year and no more PS5 and Xbox games.
Wow.
Unless they've got other stuff announced. I mean, like I say, Starfield's part of Game Pass, so I don't count that as something I'm buying.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'll bother with Spider-Man because I've just finished Miles Morales.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's not going to go nowhere, is it? It's not like they're going to sell out of copies, are they?
No, and and after 6 months, you probably get it for half the price anyway.
Yeah, probably get it 20, 30 quid. But
yeah,
and that's about it, really. They didn't really, they kept doing that thing where they kept, clicking their fingers to the Switch thing, but every time they sort of zoned out. But it wasn't a bad one. I don't know why they did that a week or so after the Xbox one, and then PlayStation went 2 weeks before them. So whereas Xbox actually did it when E3 was gonna be, and for some reason, like I say, PlayStation went there third. But then the other bit of news which sort of came out, as we're talking about E3, is they're knocking E3 on the head for the next 2 years as well. I don't know if you've.
I don't see it ever coming.
No,
back.
I don't. There's no need for it. It's not.
Excuse me?
They don't need to do these trade shows, especially for fans. They don't need to show. They just put it on YouTube for nothing, don't they?
Yeah, job done.
So it's bad, but as long as they're still gonna, I think they're all gonna go down this like direct thing. When the PlayStation Showcase and State of Play and all stuff, they do them a couple of times a year, and the Nintendo Direct do them 2-3 times a year. I wouldn't surprise me if Xbox do them more often as well now.
Yeah.
But, it's just another thing that, from the video games past that's died, like magazines and things like that. So it's kind of sad, but it's understandable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, those stage shows are usually pretty good.
Yeah, but like I said, they don't need to spend tens of millions of dollars to do them, do they? No. Because we're just going to watch the event on YouTube. It doesn't matter whether they're live in stage in front of thousands of fans, though, does it? I mean, it'd be nice if they did do that, if they put on their own thing, but I understand what it is, but never mind. Yes, that's Nintendo Direct.
Cool. All right. Well, a little bit of news then. I'm not going to take too long. Xbox Game Pass price is going up from next month. It's going to be an extra £1 a month. So, you're going to have to break your wallets for that, guys. So, yeah, an extra £1 a month from next month if you pay monthly.
Game Pass?
Yes.
Yeah, that was happening. I mean, that's been the same price for what, 4 years?
Since it launched.
Yeah, so what, 4... Was it 2018?
2017, I think.
Yeah, so it's been 6 years. I mean, come on. I mean, when I looked, Netflix had gone up from like £6 a month to like £16 a month. So
yeah, I've just cancelled mine. It was 18 quid a month. I was sharing with my mate, and it keeps on asking us for stupid codes all the time. Oh, this is not.
That's what they've done with mine. I'll put it down to the cheaper one because I used to share it with my sister and that. But yeah, she keeps getting all this now. But if you pay an extra £5 a month, they'll give you a code that you can share with someone.
Yeah, and I'm bullshit,
like, no one's doing it. They reckon they're losing money, and subscribers like mental.
Well, when they first come out, they used to put like tweets out and stuff saying, it's good to share and all that.
Yeah,
and now it's just like
it's like love is sharing your on Valentine's Day this year. There's what they said, love is sharing your Netflix password with your partner and things like that. And they're just like same as all of them. They just get greedy, don't they? And it wouldn't surprise me if they went back on it, but then it wouldn't surprise me if they don't, and then all the other like Amazon and stuff start doing the same thing.
Well, they're going to lose a lot of customers because people don't put up with that shit. I mean, the amount of people cancelling Netflix is unbelievable. It's just so expensive.
Yeah, for what? Like I said, I had it since like the month it came out in the UK.
Yeah,
and I remember when it first came out, it was pretty shit, wasn't it, Webby? I think a lot of us did the where you put on your PS3 or change your VPN to make it think you're in America.
Yeah,
so you actually got the good Netflix.
Yeah.
Because our first Netflix was really crap. I think it's still really crap compared to America, because I think their Netflix because we get what? Netflix, Sky Movies and Amazon Prime. Whereas when you look at the American Netflix, they pretty much get all of that on one subscription.
Yeah.
Or they did originally. I don't know if they've got, because they've got what, like Hulu and things like that. So I don't know if they've got that, but yeah, I heard they've already lost 30% of subscribers this month already.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, anyway, but they're trying to get money. Maybe they should just like make and get better movies on there and not just put crap ones on there.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to move on anyway. Indiana Jones, Bethesda game. Obviously, people are moaning that it's going to be Xbox exclusive. I mean, shock horror. Fucking Xbox own the studio.
Yeah.
I don't even know if the game's going to be any good anyway.
Probably not if the movie's apparently crap.
But I think a lot of this has been to do with because the Xbox and PlayStation have been in court again this week, haven't they? And there's been a lot of stuff coming out on the socials. Between Phil Spencer and what's his face that runs PlayStation, and they've been trying to
the glasses.
And they've been trying to say, oh, you know, Xbox are getting I've got all these exclusives, blah blah blah. But it's like, well, PlayStation pay off all these companies to make games exclusive, like Final Fantasy XVI, blah blah blah. So there's been a lot of toing and throwing by fanboys on Twitter, and it's making me laugh anyway.
Well, the main bloke who was moaning, like a week after they announced they were going to buy Activision, which I think is still a bit up in the air. I don't know. Some people are saying they've pulled out. Some people say they're going to pull out and it's going to fall apart. But the bloke who was moaning about Call of Duty and stuff like that, they've got emails and stuff of him saying he doesn't really care about it. And it doesn't matter about Call of Duty. They just want to fuck with Xbox and Microsoft to make it difficult for them.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, and they've got it all recorded. Yeah. It's like, well, yeah, because that was never about. They just didn't want Microsoft to have it, did they?
Well, one of the reasons when I saw come out in this court case that apparently one of the reasons that Microsoft went out and bought Bethesda was because apparently Starfield was going to be a PlayStation exclusive. So Sony were going to pay off Bethesda a load of money to make it an exclusive.
Yeah, they tried to.
So Microsoft got wind of this and were just like, fuck this, we're just going to buy the whole company out and make it exclusive on the Xbox. Because no matter which side of the fence you sit on, I mean, I'm someone who has all the consoles, so I don't care. But Sony have been doing this for years, you know. So have Microsoft in the Xbox 360 generation. But Sony have been, I think, a bit more, what's the word, aggressive with it, with paying off. Yeah, with paying off companies just to make games exclusive to their system. Because you look at Square as a prime example, they'll put like the lesser games on there, like Crisis Core and other shitty games on the multi-platforms. But then when it comes to like the big ones like Final Fantasy VII Remake, 16 and that, they make sure that they pay Square enough money so it never hits a Microsoft console, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we said this before in a lot of the PlayStation podcast we did, you know, the Patreon ones, you know, back with the PS1, that's one of their, I mean, we always had exclusive, you know, back in the day with Sega and Nintendo, but it was like you had Mario on Nintendo, Sonic on Sega.
Yeah.
You know, you might have slightly different variants of Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter on each, but usually the third parties, you know, were allowed to release on multiple consoles. But then that's, you know, one of the first people that actually started buying exclusivity rights. Not saying they are buying games for only, they are buying franchises and games to stop them going on others. You know, like when Sony paid, you know, the Soulsborne lot to actually make Bloodborne. it was a whole new game, wasn't it? So they didn't stop, because I think they originally wanted to make Dark Souls and because I think Demon Souls was, and then Dark Souls, they had to change the name because they said Sony owns Demon Souls.
Yeah.
They wanted to try and make Dark Souls a PlayStation exclusive, and they said, no, we won't release it on everything. So that's why they changed the name to Dark Souls and things like that.
Yeah.
And like years ago, I was talking to my mate about this the other day. Like, they were actually, like, with PS1, they announced so many games coming out on Sega Saturn, like Resident Evil 2 and things like that, which apparently they pretty much finished the game and were going to release it on Saturn. And then PlayStation just bought out exclusively to stop them to going on other consoles. And that's what I'm saying. That's the difference between buying company, developers to make exclusive games for them, but they're paying them to stop games coming out on other consoles, and that's a bit, like you said, it's more malicious, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
but it is what it is.
So sticking with Xbox for a bit, Todd Howard, who runs Bethesda, has come out and said that 10%, I say only, but it's not 10%, so it's 100 planets out of the 1,000 in Starfield are going to have life on. So the other 900 are just going to be like mineral planets to like scan and gather shit, which, people have moaned about, but I'm like, fucking hell, mate, it's got 100 fucking planets with life on.
People just want infinity. Let's actually have it proper to scale as well, like a real planet.
Yeah.
Like every single one of them.
It's like, if you look at the solar system, how many planets have life on in our solar system? 1. So, I mean, come on. Sort it out.
Well, doesn't Mars have bacteria on it or something, or so they say? But I know what you meant, like actual sort of life forms rather than that. But I just hope it's
most
not
things
shit.
on other planets, life forms of some sort. Everything just can't be completely and utterly dead.
I just hope it don't get too far up. Like, what was it in No Man's Sky when you had to sit there for like 45 minutes and wait for you to fly to another planet and there was no skip button? I think they patched it and updated it so you could skip or get to planets faster, but it's just like, I think you'll find it would take you 400 months to get to Mars. So, well, to be realistic, we'll have you sit there and wait that long, shall we? It's a game.
As you mentioned, patches and updates. There was actually an update for Redfall.
Oh yeah.
Is it 60 frames per second yet?
No, I don't think it was that. I think it's just a tweaks bug. So the thing with the textures taking ages to load in isn't an issue anymore.
Oh, cool.
So things are being done. So
that's good. Oh, I'm just going back to the court case thing. I forgot to mention. So it come out this week in the court case as well, that it has been 100% confirmed that Sony did pay Square Enix to put Final Fantasy XVI exclusively on the PlayStation and to never come out on the Xbox series of consoles. So they also
that's something we knew, though, didn't we?
But it decided to come out in writing at the court case this week. Yeah. So
it's just, like I said, they're just typical hypocritical companies, aren't they?
Yeah.
They moan what Xbox are trying to do, what they've been doing for 30 years.
Yeah. Elder Scrolls 6. The rumour is that Elder Scrolls 6 won't come out till at least 2028. And it looks like it will only be available on the next generation of Xbox. So it won't be out on the Series X or anything. It'll be out on whatever the consoles is after that.
The Xbox 2.
Yeah. Xbox Series 2.
Xbox One Series 2 XS something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Turbo Edition.
Yeah. And that's all my news. Anything else? Anything else you guys want to mention?
No.
Oh, there was a few. A few people were moaning that Final Fantasy XVI was like causing PS5s to overheat, and they were like shutting down, getting like, it's overheating the console, and I was like, nah, mate, that's the 30-degree weather outside that's doing that.
Yeah.
And, we're in the middle of a heat wave. That's probably why you're getting that. But
in the middle of a heat wave, and they probably live in a filthy house and have never cleaned out their consoles. Probably full of dust and hairs and stuff.
Yeah, but probably that. But I don't think we've got red ring of death levels of complaints yet. I just thought there's just a few sites were picking that up. You know what they love.
Yeah,
because that's easy news, isn't it?
Yeah. Cool. Is that it?
Yeah.
I think so.
Wow. That's been a quick one this week. Excellent. You guys can have a nice early night to get up early for work tomorrow.
Yeah, really looking forward to it.
Isn't that nice? In this heat.
It's the cherry on top.
I just like how you said that. You guys can have a nice early night as if we're like together or something. Just how you said that, I was like, that's not.
Well, the case. I think we should let the cat out of the bag that you two are a couple and you're living together.
We're a couple of twats, but I don't think we're that type of couple. So you're going to let everyone know that you're going to be in London for the gaming market next weekend.
Yeah, so I've got a couple of things I need to discuss very quickly before we end. So one is myself and Nick are going to be venturing to London Sunday next week for the London gaming market. It's really, really good. They sell loads of retro games, but loads of like toys and fluff, the cuddly toys and games and shit like that. Just cool merch and that. So if you want to pop along, come and say hello. We'll be there.
There's a bar outside, a beer garden. That's the best part.
Yeah, so we'll be drinking beer. Mrs. will be driving home then, so that's all good.
Are you bringing the kids as well, or are you?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh kids great! So you'll be on your best behaviour then.
No.
Yeah, right.
Be fine. And so the last thing, I just want to give a big shout out to Hogarth. I've known about this for a while, but he's only just let the community know in our Discord group this week that he's been and is currently battling cancer. So my heart goes out to him and his family. He is currently having treatment. However, he has been told that he has between 6 and 12 months to live. So we're really hoping that this treatment really does prolong his life for him and his family's sake, and obviously for our community. For those of you that don't know Hogarth, he's been a huge part of the 360G community for a long, long time, almost since the beginning, really.
Yeah, I can't remember anything, and I was pretty early as well. I can remember him always being around. He's
always been very active. He's been one of the most giving people I know when it's come to like the Patreon and just wanting to get involved with just chatting. And back in the day, he helped out with the YouTube channel. We whacked a few really good videos up on there, and just an all-round really nice guy. So he's in the Discord if you want to say hello or anything like that. He likes to play a lot of COD. But yeah, just wanted to give him a shout out in this week's episode. Now, that he's happy for people to know. So, yeah. I think that's all I can really say on that, to be honest.
Not much you can, really.
No.
Unfortunately.
So, yeah, just wish him the best of luck and, get some gaming in and very, very soon. So on that, that's the end of this week's show. It's been awesome. Thank you very much for coming on, guys. Next week, we will be doing a Patreon exclusive Nintendo handheld special, going through all the handheld consoles. Not sure when that episode will be out. Maybe midweek to late week, depending on when we record. But it will be out at some point next week. So from all of us here, it's been awesome. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.